In the last 4 years of selling drop and replacement for dead open source, these are the top 5 reasons that customers give. Customers and potential customers alike. They have no money or limited money. They have an SLA that requires them to keep the old version running. They have a migration that they tried to do that failed or is failing currently. They have a team that they've hired in-house to maintain their own fork of the open source project so that they can keep it secure on their own. And the 5th one is actually the most popular one. And it's just that security is not a priority at these organizations, unfortunately. So I put it last, but that is by far the leading reason. So let me talk about some examples in each of these top 5 reasons. So first, limited money or no money. A lot of us out there, whether we work at a Fortune 100 or we're just trying to make our name in the world, our projects are on the edge of a knife and we're fighting to survive. Whether you're a manager in a Fortune 100 that's fighting for budget or you're at a startup, money is an issue. Finding budget to fix these things is an issue. And modernization costs millions for new products. And modernization also, like completely rewriting out of an app, it risks the entire stability of the platform that's your money. It might be your money maker. It might be your only platform. The next reason why money is a problem is because some projects are so successful, they work and they're put on a shelf. The project manager, the QA, and the developers are all assigned to another project, and there's no budget on slate for that project to ever be updated ever again. So that's another reason why there's no money, is because they've deprioritized that project. And a piece of information that we found as we work with our customers, we talk to them about their costs of migrating and our costs of helping them migrate. Migrating these harder platforms, they cost about $5 to $15 per line of code to migrate to something modern. If you think about having like a WinForm app from 2005 and migrating it to React with a Spring backend, that's going to take you, including your move from Citrix into an actual web framework, it's going to cost you $15 per line of code in that WinForms app. That's outrageous. That's an outrageous cost that most companies can't find anymore. So that's our number one reason, limited money or no money. The next one, and this is shocking, is you have a service level agreement that requires you to keep supporting an app that uses outdated frameworks. An example of this is if you've built something that you sell into a government. When you sell to a government, it's fixed bid. Whatever it costs you to build, there's no more money coming down that pipeline in the future. You barely have enough to get it going, but you also have security compliance as a requirement. And those are 2 perpendicular instructions. No more money, but you have to keep it secure. That's a problem, because when these frameworks go end of life, the app is no longer secure, but you promised it would be. So how can you keep something secure when the platform is written on as unsecure? It's a very, very risky problem. The other scenario that our customers run into a lot, or that we see in the wild, is you made 2 promises to your own customers. Your first promise you made to your customers is, we will not force you to upgrade to new versions in the future. You can keep the current version that you bought today for 10 or more years. That's one promise you made, and you put your signature on it. The second promise you made is that you will be security compliant for the life of that product. But that product is built on something that's now a dead piece of open source software. So you have you're in a paradox, is what we call that in business. You can't do both at the same time. So companies have to find their way through supporting a dead framework without the money to do it or the know-how to do it, but they also have to keep it secure at the same time. This is another problem that gets people stuck on old versions of software. And this is a multi-million-dollar problem. Every single one of your customers could sue you for the entirety of the cost to replace you as a vendor. So if you imagine you had 100 customers and the cost to replace you is $5 million, that's a bullet that companies can't afford to risk in a class action suit. So this is an extremely problematic problem for the community. We run into this one a lot. There's 2 types of rewrites, and both fail regularly. You've got a complete rewrite, which is like, it starts out as a fun new app, and every developer on the project is excited. Every developer is excited to try the new technology, but when it comes down to it, they estimated the migration incorrectly. An app that took you 7 years to build the first time, they told you it was going to take them 9 months to rewrite. So you budgeted 9 months worth of money. 9 months in, you're a third of the way through the migration. The other problem with complete rewrites is you get no new features while that's happening. So not only does your budget 4 or 5x, you're building zero competitive advantage against your competitors during the 3 or 4 years it takes you to do a complete rewrite. The other type of rewrite is a hybrid rewrite, where you're replacing the old app with pieces of a new app in the exact same place. This dies very, very regularly. Again, same problem. Estimations are miscalculated. The team tells you they can rewrite the app in a year, but really you need 2 years or longer to do the rewrite. And money runs out regularly through a hybrid app. And the good news about a hybrid migration is that weird state where you have 2 apps running at the same time, when that fails, that can just be the new normal. So a lot of companies are out there just running this weird Frankenstein app, this weird Death Star monolith where half of it is an old thing and half of it is a new thing, and no one knows how to make sense out of it. And the other reason that hybrid apps fail is because you can still use the current app. Businesses will typically clobber the developers out of doing the migration anymore, and new features become the priority, and therefore the rewrite essentially dies kind of mid-flight. This one happens regularly in bigger enterprise customers like the ones that are here. A company is legally required to maintain all of their dead open source in order to be security compliant, whether you're needing to be FedRAMP compliant or PCI compliant or HIPAA compliant, or you're dealing with compliance in the EU, or you're dealing with compliance anywhere, or your own SLA. So they'll create an internal team of experts, and these aren't normal engineers, that can maintain your open source software, your own fork. So now you've adopted millions of lines of tech debt, where you're now maintaining these dead open source libraries, hoping to keep them secure going forward. This is cheaper than migrating though, typically. It's less effective than migrating though, because you are always gonna have this danger out there. And it's slowly being disallowed by auditors. PCI this year began disallowing companies the opportunity to support their own dead open source, and they're requiring some customers to go out into the world and find professional third-party assistance. The last reason, and this is the real reason, some of us work for organizations right now that this is the case. This is why we're using dead open source. And it's because leadership is asleep at the wheel, right? And our customers or our users haven't made a big enough threat. Like, no one's waving a big enough stick at the business to make the company care. And the other reason that no one cares is because you just simply haven't been exploited yet. But when the exploit comes, everyone cares.